Hunt Showdown has quickly become one of my favorite games. There's something about the gameplay that's just so addicting. Just like it can be one of the most rewarding games you've ever played, it can easily be one of the most punishing. But by God if it isn't fun. With Hunt being as competitive as it is, players are always itching to have an edge over their competition. And naturally, a huge part of that edge is knowing which guns stand where in Hunt's competitive environment. So, that's probably why you're here watching this video. Whether you're Earl Nelio Dia, the white shirt hunter who just got the game and is in a constant state of or you're spooky characters McGee, the nerd who sticks to the meta no matter what. But regardless of who you are, you're all here for one of two reasons. You're either trying to learn about the different weapons in Hunt, or you're looking for someone to argue with online because you've been trapped at home for months on end now and that's put you on edge. And if you're here for the first reason, great, stick around for a great video. But if you're here for the second reason, that's fine. I get it. And just so I don't get too burned by your righteous fury, I've got a disclaimer to pop up before we get into this video.
Disclaimer. The Hunt Showdown weapon tier list is backed by science, statistics, math, algebra, research, and PI. None of the information expressed here is opinion, it is all fact. Shut up.
Here it is. Here's the tier list. Made it myself. Got the basics. The S tier being the very, very good, best of the best. A tier being really good, above average. B being the, the good, the standard. A C being the, leaves a lot to be desired. And D, I think D speaks for itself.
Clown emoji.
Aye, so you see, we take the harpoon gun and put the blade on a stick. Then we take your crossbow and put some dynamite onto your bolt. And we put that lad on top of the harpoon stick. And now you got yourself a bomb lance.
Ball Mines is definitely the best melee weapon in the game. I don't really think that's a hot take at all. This thing takes all the utility that all the other melee weapons in the game have, and cranks it up to about a 10. It can kill adds, take out the boss in a couple seconds, kill players really easily in one hit. And it also has the unique ability to breach doors with his charged bolt. And you can also take out concertina wire with this too. Overall, if you're taking a melee build, this is definitely the weapon you want to bring with you.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, hey, 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 hey!
Romero's an easy A tier. I find that the Romero has what all the other shotguns in Hunt lack, which is consistency and range. I find more often than not that when I land my shots with this weapon, I am getting kills. It's definitely limited by the fact that it only has a single shell, and you have to reload after every shot. However, if you're connecting that shot, you're always doing at least the damage to push the enemy back. Plus, this is a very cheap and reliable weapon as well, making it a perfect choice for budget builds, or playing at super close ranges, like in compounds or waiting for an ambush. There's definitely a reason that the Romero is the go-to choice for players who have just prestige and are stuck with the first base weapons. It's cheap, reliable, and there's not really much more you can ask for. The Caldwell Rival. The good old Caldwell Rival. Yeah, this thing fucking sucks. This is a strange weapon because it's almost like the polar opposite of the Romero. Whereas the Romero had range and consistency, this thing lacks both of those. It's also more expensive than the Romero, and that's a really hard sell for me, honestly. When the Romero is way cheaper and more reliable than the Caldwell. It's funny because the Caldwell Rival is a downgrade that is presented as an upgrade. Sure, it holds an extra round, which gives you more leeway for mistake, but when you land both of these shots and it still doesn't kill, you're definitely going to be really disappointed. I find that this weapon performs best when you're in the range to slap the other hunter and say, "Tag, you're it." Yeah, if you want to raise your blood pressure and feel like you're attacking other hunters with party poppers, go crazy. The Specter is the choice shotgun for hunters who have a gambling addiction. Occasionally, the Specter will fool you into believing that it is actually an A-tier shotgun. Be it getting killed by an enemy hunter, or using it yourself for the first time in a while and thinking, hey, I don't think this is actually that bad. Only to fool you the next time you're in a gunfight at close range, and you shoot that hunter and you would have sworn that that was a kill, and it wasn't. It also requires at least one perk to make the weapon function at its fullest. And for some reason, it's the only shotgun in the game where this perk actually applies to it. Which is strange, because you would believe that, you know, this is a balancing choice made to make sure that this weapon isn't too strong. It's not. The weapon is far from needing a debuff, and I feel like they should honestly just get rid of the perk and make it a feature of the weapon to just give it that slight little buff so that it can be a bit more competitive and more useful. The inconsistencies of this weapon and its clearly superior
alternative
definitely make this a lackluster choice. So the Crown and King actually suffers from the same issues that the Specter suffers from, specifically range and damage. So you might think this would make it place around the same spot as the Specter. However, the Crown and King has a special feature that really separates it from the Specter and all the other shotguns in the game. It's semi-auto. This is the gold standard for shotgun loadouts in Hunt. While its range is not that of a Romero, it doesn't really matter. Because even if your first shot doesn't kill, you've got 4 more shots that you can rely on to follow up with in quick succession. This is also a shotgun that doesn't need the pesky perks that the Specter needs. Which granted, you can give to any of the other shotguns in the game, but none of the other shotguns are nearly as fun or as fast to shoot as the Crown is. Hey, would you look at that? It's the one gun in the game that almost always one-shots players. This is an easy S tier, isn't it?
No!
This weapon has serious drawbacks that definitely hinder the weapon's overall performance. For starters, the sight. It's not good. The iron sight alone is super obstructive and gives you terrible tunnel vision. The Nitro also takes special ammo, and holds 2 shots at a time, and 4 in reserve, leaving you with a total of 6 shots. If your aim is perfect and you land every shot, you can potentially wipe out 2 trios and 3 duos, all alone. However, since it's more realistic to assume that you would be missing a few shots, you're actually at a severe disadvantage compared to almost every other gun in the game. For example, the Sparks does very high damage, dropping enemy hunters to 1 HP with body shots, and while it won't be a one-hit kill unless the enemy hunter has taken some damage already or you connect a headshot, you still have a base ammo pool of 21 rounds total. Going back to its ammo type, the Nitro takes special ammo, meaning that you cannot refill this weapon at normal ammo boxes. You have to find the special ammo containers, which randomly spawn around compounds. And if you're in the middle of a gunfight, you don't have a lot of time to actually search for these ammo crates. Overall, with other options in the game and the downside severely holding back this weapon, it's easily the worst high-tier weapon in the game. The Crossbow is C tier. It does solid hit damage and follows up by giving the bleed effect, which severely limits what the person hit can do in that moment. It also benefits from making very little noise, meaning if you're playing stealthy, you can sneakily attack enemies and give them a panic attack when you hit them. But it also has a 6-second reload. Half of that if you bring Bolt Thrower. It'll also struggle at longer ranges since the bolts actually travel slower than most of the bullets in Hunt, making it much more reliable at closer ranges. While it has its own strengths, there is always a weapon that will outperform it in whichever positive category it can fit into. Definitely one of the weaker weapons in the game. And the explosive crossbow and the shot bolt are even worse. The explosive crossbolt isn't amazing for damage, and if your reason to bring it is to open doors and destroy concertina, then why not just bring a bomb lance that will be easier to use and more reliable than this thing. The Winfield honestly isn't that bad. It's the jack of all trades while being the master of none. The Winfield brings with it the most versatility of any of the weapons in Hunt. With the base variant plus some perks, you have a rifle that works as a marksman weapon that rewards good aim and headshots, while also being a close-range SMG if you bring levering. You'll definitely find the damage lacking at medium to longer ranges, but with a fast RPM and decent aim, this shouldn't be a huge problem. It also has the most variants out of all the guns in Hunt, each applying to a certain playstyle, which means that almost anybody can find a fit for the Winfield.
I'm including the Winfield Carbine as a variant because I am lazy.
The Officer Carbine is okay, but I definitely prefer the Winfield over this rifle. It was a solid budget rifle before they changed its price, but since adjusting the price, it now mainly appeals to players who want to show off their aim. This is definitely a head clicker weapon, and it's pretty dope to see players with solid aim absolutely destroy with this, but doesn't amount to much more than that. The Springfield is also an okay weapon. It's not terrible when you're starting off, packing medium ammo and a decent RPM with, I believe, the fastest reload of the one-shot rifles in the game, but you will definitely ditch this weapon as soon as you unlock any of the other rifles, or pick up something else in the bayou. Side note, the sights on this are really bad. The Viterli is the choice weapon for the aggressive, monster-chugging, constantly on-edge hunter. The rapid rate at which it cycles its rounds, its quick reload, and solid hipfire set this weapon up to be the ideal primary for a hyperactive hunter. Is it lacking in damage and bullet penetration compared to long ammo? Yeah. But none of that matters when Kyle McDude is sprinting at you, downing his 8th energy drink of the day. Eyes red and face greasy, heart full of determination, rage, and long-lasting health complications. Hi, I'm Delanthony Balls, and I'm here for you.
Yes, you.
Do you want the power of long ammo but don't want to be called a lame-ass long ammo boy?
Yes, my ego is fragile.
Are you sick of this rinky-dinky clunky wonky piece of shit? Well, you're in luck, partner. Introducing the Mini Sparks.
So puny.
Get up close and personal with this little guy. Put that bad boy in your pocket and call it a day.
Shh. Don't tell Mom.
And let me tell you.
Yes, you.
I am so coked up right now that I'm throwing all our profit margins down the shitter. If you order right now, I'll throw in not 1, not 2, but 10 Mini Sparks in for absolutely free. Oh no, do you hear that? You hear that?
Open
You see that?
the door. The
That's Big Gun Tech trying to pull me off the air.
Let us in.
So call now and order now
You're
and buy it
gonna
now and
call
put money
the
in my pocket.
police.
Yeah, the martini's not that bad. It's definitely extremely overshadowed by the sparks, but works well in its own way. Like how the Viterli is the short to medium range alternative to a Lebel or Mosin, the Martini is the short to medium range alternative to a Sparks. The 1 second reload difference may not seem like much at first, but it definitely allows you to play a similar playstyle to the Viterli while packing a bigger punch. While I am leaving this in the average category of B tier, that's only because of the Sparks is awesome. It can deal up to 149 damage in one shot, making it super rewarding to hit your shots with. This weapon also works super well in pretty much every form of hunt that you can be playing. Solo, duo, trio, you name it, it works. Even if you're not killing with this rifle, you're basically playing a support role for your team by wasting enemy resources with a single shot. The Spark Sniper makes this role even more devastating, as you can do this but at extremely long ranges. Any confident push can be ruined by landing one shot with this rifle, immediately sending whoever is hit back to cover to heal. I've also included the Spark
Silencer
variant for this, but just because I see it as more of a downgrade. You're still doing a pretty solid amount of damage to players, but not as much as you would be doing if you were just using the normal Sparks. I can definitely see the argument being made for this, seeing as it has a silencer, making it harder for hunters to figure out where they're getting shot from, and also a really nice sight on it. But even so, I still see this as a downgrade to the normal Sparks, as you're still losing that damage and range, which is a very big appealing factor to the normal Sparks. The Lebel is S tier, as simple as that. I don't think this is a hot take at all. Like, the Lebel and the next rifle on this list are easily the go-to meta rifles in the game right now, and for good reason. The biggest appeal to the Lebel is definitely its 10-round ammo capacity.
Oh my god! Wow!
Meaning you can stay in a gunfight longer and be less impacted by the ammo penalty for not using bullet grubber. Cocking the rifle between shots can feel a bit sluggish compared to other rifles, but being able to lock down angles without having to look away or staying in a gunfight longer definitely negates this. Yeah, I don't even need to show you a transition clip, you already know where this weapon is. This right here is the meta rifle. And for good reason. It's really, really good. Solid damage and range, great iron sights, plenty of variants that fit multiple playstyles. I mean, there's not even really much for me to go off of here to make jokes about. Yeah, it's really good, but it's also super bland. There's nothing in particular that's really special about this rifle, or it's very,
I fear no man, but that thing. It scares me.
No, I ain't talking about that freak, alright? He's not here, is he? How do I get this fucking thing off?
One shudders to imagine what inhuman thoughts lie behind that mask. What dreams of chronic and sustained cruelty.
This game is so challenging. Maybe I should buy another burger.
The Aftermath. Everything you'd expect from a burst-fire rifle in the Old West. It's the one weapon in the game that players will either completely avoid or completely die for when it's heard being shot on the map. The Aftermath actually has a hidden stat that isn't listed on its bio page. This stat is known as the Avto effect. This stat is activated once the Aftermath is first fired at an enemy hunter, and will completely override their current thought pattern and simply leave them thinking, "Oh Jesus, that's an Aftermath." Oh my fucking god. No other weapon in the game can change how quickly a team approaches a fight than this weapon.
Tell me how it didn't kill you the first 100 times.
For that reason, it works best with a team where it serves as the last line of defense. Relax in compound or just behind your team, let the enemy hunters gain some confidence to push you and your team, and then bam, Aftermath.
You so fucking precious when you...
And here it is. The completely unbiased, no opinion, purely factual Hunt Showdown Big Gun tier list. Disagree with one of the placements? You got something to say, huh? You got some well-informed opinion? Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go ahead and share it? Why don't you go ahead and share it, you high intellectual space being? Why don't you try and leave a comment and share your opinion? You little baby. You little baby. You give it your best shot. Give it your best shot. In all seriousness, this video took way longer than originally planned. I had the idea, and I thought that it would end up being a 10-minute video, and it would only take me about like a week or two. That ended up not being the case at all. The video took a while for a couple of reasons, one of them being that I went into this with very limited editing knowledge, as you can probably tell from my past videos. Up until this point, I think the video I put the most effort into editing was the Rainbow Six video, and yeah, it hasn't aged well. And while I'm sure I'll look back at this and see a bunch of things that I could have done differently, I'm happy with where it is right now, honestly, and this is definitely something that's very rewarding to finish and actually put out there. But after working on this, I'm definitely looking forward to working on videos that are shorter in length and aren't as demanding on time. Overall, I had a lot of fun working on this, really, and I definitely want to do more videos like this in the future. Hopefully I can get to a point where I can do these a bit faster, but you know, writing out a script, going and recording the footage for it, editing in all the bits after, it's so much fun, honestly. But yeah, for now I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you stick around to see what I do next. Peace.